Hi, this is Kalyan from Sai Solution. Let us take one query that we have received in our Sai Solution alumni group. Very interesting query to understand deeply about the matter and idea impact on our vitality. So I'll just read the query first. It's a comment, observation shared and beautifully comprehended, comprehensible query it is. I was watching this video. Initially, I liked it a lot because it tells how bad sugar is for our body. And then I really liked the way they have put up for kids to understand. Obviously, their intention was good. So she's talking about a video which portrays sugar as thief, and it impacts bad on health and all those things. It's a kind of fairy tale for the kids that has been proposed. So end of the video, there is a fear expected to be generated uh, amongst the viewer, specifically kids, so that they can stay away from sugar. So going forward, I forwarded it to a lot of people. Initially, I was hesitant, but then I did forward, just thinking that it will create awareness in kids and in their parents. Then today morning, a thought strikes in me about the way they have used the feeling of fear to create awareness, as in calling it a thief, and how it is causing a lot of problems in our body. Consuming it even a bit is very bad. Going forward, and now that I'll see sugar or sweet in my house, I will get the feeling of hatred or fear by looking at it. An idea will come to be, and that will be my motivation of not eating sugary things. And even if I consume it by chance, I'll meet guilt for having done bad with my body, and now it will create such things. So these ideas will create physiological sensation or feeling inside me, and it will become a loop, and it will be innervating for me. And I also felt guilt sharing this with people because they are not really seeking it. And what if they don't have an alternative to sugar with their current lifestyle and addictions? What impact have I put to others' mind by sharing this particular video? Beautiful sharing and beautiful diving deep into the thoughts. So what is proposed is not the primary aspect. How it is being proposed and what is the framework of it, that's what we need to look at. So I just would try to go deeper into this aspect so that we can understand some framework of it. So now, spectrum of any experience that we experience in our day-to-day lives have got these three layers: physical, physiological, and psychological. We need to understand this very categorically and phase wise. Physical means the first confrontation of anything, be it a matter or an idea or a mixture of that. First we confront, then with that confrontation we sense it physiologically. We sense it, and then that sensation is perceived psychologically. We need to understand this connection: confrontation, sensation, then perception. So all in all, the acting, feeling, thinking zones are: acting is that confrontation first, confrontation portion, and then feeling is that mid bridge that creates some thinking in us. So if we understand this, first aspect is very mechanical aspect, then the second aspect is a chemical aspect, which is experienced bodily. And then the last is the neural aspect, which is impulsive, non-perceivable. So first two things are perceivable, but the last one is not perceivable. So physical and non-physical aspects. So first two are physical aspects. Physical means there is a perception that like we can perceive it, and commonly it is perceived. So it has a physical entity. So this is a materialistic root. This is a materialistic root, and this is matter. Matter, we cannot deny the existence of it. And the other aspect is the idea. It is in the thought, and it's absolutely non-perceivable. Nobody can claim that this idea I have and this is the idea. I cannot show it. Nobody can perceive other than the individual who is sensing it, right? So the idea and matter categories are here. Now, what happens when we confront a physical entity? If it brings an awareness, if it is a matter, if it is a matter, suppose the matter has come to us as a confrontation, then the sensation will be naturally regulated. Naturally it will be regulated, and that will bring an awareness within us. That will bring an awareness within us. So this is the physical entity going to the physiological way, and at the psychological sphere it is creating some awareness. Now if we replace that matter with something mixed with idea, or an individual idea which doesn't have any physical existence. So when we experience that, then the sensation is unregulated because of the influence of the ideas in both the aspects, if it is a matter mixed with idea or an independent idea. Now that unregulated sensation will create some conditioned ideas. Those are not original my ideas that I am generating, but it is conditioned idea, and this will create a loop in itself. How that loop will, I'll just portray that, how that loop happens. But let's take an experience of the current video that the alumnus is talking about. It's an experience of sweetness, suppose. So first, if it is a date, if it is a dates on mango, whatever the sweet fruits, then it will create awareness out of the naturally regulated sensation. Naturally regulated sensation, right? Now, if the dates is replaced by jaggery, be it a jaggery or sugar, doesn't matter, but intentionally we have modified it. Intentionally we have modified it. That means some idea is incorporated in it. So no matter how good is the taste background, but if ideally we are creating some taste or modifying some taste, enhancing some taste, be it jaggery or sugar, doesn't matter, but there is some idea of enhancing the taste, because the natural single taste is not acceptable by the individual. So to enhance it, mix it with jaggery or anything, that means we are defying the voice of the organism here. We are trying to defy the voice of the organism. This basic fact we need to understand, that there is a mixture of idea in that matter. So what will happen is the unregulated sensation. Because of that idea, the pleasure is stimulated, and the sensation that will happen, that will be unregulated. And that unregulated sensation definitely creates conditioned ideas, right? And this could be just an idea also. This can start with just an idea, which is a fear or a guilt. The alumnus is talking about guilt also and fear also. So both are ideas which are creating some unregulated sensation within me, and that is creating a loop. So also not only the fear or the guilt, but the ideas of villain and heroes, the ideas of good and bad, when we impose and we accept it, that time it creates a loop. How we accept it? The acceptance is this in loop, you know. So idea comes to us, and idea generates a feeling, and that feeling definitely conditions the idea further. and that idea generates another feeling, and that feeling will enhance the idea again, and the loop will go on and on. That is where we actually find ourselves innervated, because of this loop happening without any physical real entry. Just an idea has come, and that idea is creating that loop. Now, the reason here of the loop is the unquestioned thought. When we allow any thoughts to enter ourselves, enter within us without questioning, without analysis, that time it forms a loop. So at the entry point, if we start questioning it, if we start analyzing it, then only if we allow it to enter, then what will happen? Questioning helps us to assimilate it. Questioning is a slow process. It will help us to assimilate within our neural domain, and that breaks the loop and creates a chain of ideas and awareness. Ideas and awareness. Idea will create awareness bypassing the feeling. So when we start questioning, the feeling, the impact of the feeling goes down and it becomes an awareness. So more on that will come back again, and I encourage all the people to question. Thank you.